It's been a long day with so many knowledgeable sessions and such insightful speakers. We have had our lunch, and on top of the cake, the icing on the cake was the discussion on the importance of sleep in the last panel discussion. So that was the last thing I was waiting for. And okay, I hope we are able to hold your attention and keep you awake for this panel discussion. And just to tell you, this is the first time at such a big forum that such a important and interesting topic of military veteran hiring in India is being discussed. And I thank you. I thank Business World for giving us this opportunity for discussing such an important thing with such esteemed gathering. And with this, let me take this opportunity to introduce the panel. We have with us Major General Sharad Kapur, Yudh Seva Medal, Sena Medal, an alumnus of the prestigious Indian Military Academy, Dehradun, and he was commissioned into the Infantry Battalion, the Rajput Regiment. He has an illustrious military career of 3.5 decades, and he has gained vast experience in intense counter-insurgency, counter-terrorism operations in J&K and Northeast. The General Officer is a recipient of Yudh Seva Medal, Sena Medal, twice the Chief of Army Staff Commendation, and 4 times the Vice Chief of Army Staff and Army Commander Commendation for gallantry actions and devotion to duty in counter-insurgency and counter-terrorism. The General Officer is presently the Director General of Resettlement Directorate, which comes under the Department of Ex-Servicemen Welfare. And he is looking after the post-retirement settlement opportunities for ex-servicemen of Army, Navy, and Air Force. We have with us Sonica, who hardly needs an introduction. She's an HR veteran. We all know her. She has friends here. So at the cost of being redundant, let me introduce her. She is a diversity champion. She is CEO of Marching Sheep, which is a HR consulting firm for diversity and inclusion, and has been consulting the top corporates in the industry. Her work at Marching Sheep has been recognized repeatedly by various top bodies as one of the top HR consulting firms in the country. She herself has been recognized repeatedly by various publications, one of the top HR leaders and entrepreneurs in the country. And we have with us Tarun Vora. He's an Indian Army veteran. He has successfully transitioned into the corporate industry. He's Senior Operations Manager with Amazon. So thank you all for taking out time and joining us for this discussion. I'll start with you, sir. So the government and the armed forces are acutely aware of the challenges that the military personnel face while transitioning from the armed forces to the corporate. What are the various initiatives that DGR has undertaken currently? And I'll request if you can highlight the role DGR plays in the journey of an armed forces personnel into the corporate world.
Thank you. At the outset, I'm very thankful to Business World for giving an opportunity for us to bring the men in uniform to the HR world, the HR, I can say the CEO sitting here and the top lot sitting here. I accept it as with humble that my request would be that understand the ecosystem in which a man is working and coming out. Now, before I come on to the initiative, I'll just give you little challenges which anybody and everybody has. Take home also, back home, when you were switching from, say, kindergarten school or from home to kindergarten school, the challenge the mother or the parents had, how the child will behave, what will happen, school to college, college to job. Similar challenges are there with the man in uniform. Now you must, I will not go into detail of what that man does in the army, how he is. You all understand. You all have seen on the in the print media or on the other medias how a man is doing. Now, the challenge what he has is that you understand that he joins an organization, only organization in India in which he vows to give his life for the nation. Balance of the organization says that we will build the nation. We will be part of the nation building, but he is ready to give his life, and numerous lives go. Latest couple of weeks back. So you have to understand that. Now he is told to stand up front, take the challenge, because he's to face the biggest enemy on this earth, that is death. So he's not worried about other things. Whereas when other people who come in, they understand the gray zone, whereas he doesn't have any gray zone. So this is the biggest challenge when he comes out and he finds that gray zone. So this you understand, all of you. So once he comes into this gray zone, suddenly he realizes, no, he has to change. He has to unlearn what he has learned for last so many years from youngster days of the young age. And that is the fog in which he comes out. He's imbalanced in his approach, what to do, like any other change which comes in. He is, of course, some of them are doing well, have got certain pension, back home, support, all that. Yet, with the rising aspiration, children now grown up, parents growing old, he wants to get into the job or he gets into a business model, wherever he is. So these are the challenges when he comes out and he looks for jobs. Now, when he joined the organization, he knew that he will be well taken care because you know the strength of the forces. So I'll not go into that detail. Our motto is womb to tomb. You know, we take care of people, even ex-servicemen like I'm going to talk. I'm here representing them. We take care of them. Wherever they are, any need, we go out of our way, men in uniform, to support them. That is the objective of whether it is the national objective or given by the forces. Now, when he comes out, he looks for a job, but he looks with conditions. Now, this is a challenge. Condition is that he's been away from his home and now he wants to come nearer his home. And can he get a job? Because he's been away. Then he was drawing a very handsome pay with perks. So he looks for equal, if not near equal, somewhere near equal or a little below equal he looks for. He compromises on the pay package. So this is what is the challenge. So this is, we are trying, like government has given a lot of initiatives, taken a lot of initiative towards their resettlement within the organization, within the ministries, all that we have, reservation, other things. But now, as world has changed since 1991, we have seen India changing. It is market-driven economy. Companies are doing well. Corporates have come up. Large corporates have come up. So they are offering good package. So this is where we look for initiative. And these are the initiative we have taken. But before we go into corporate, what we do is we bridge the gap. Now, how we bridge the gap is that he is carrying a skill level that was required for the organization. Now he's coming on to the civil skill level. So we have certain training programs, skill programs in which we have tie up with a lot of government, I will say, institutes of repute, which I'll talk a little later. So that is how we taken the initiative. We give them training and then we offer them to the market. That's what we do.
Thank you so much, sir, for the insight. Sonica, I wanted to ask you, you have been working with the industry and consulting them into integrating diversity and inclusion in their culture of the company. Do you think that industry has been able to understand and capitalize on the military talent which is available?
Very good question, Parv. So I would say that in India particularly, diversity, equity and inclusion has been a journey. So what started as a journey of inclusion of women, and in the last few years, we have seen a broadening of narrative. So I have been a D&I consultant, and I would be very candid that when I first met Perv in Bangalore, he was the one who caught hold of me and he said, in your presentation, I did not hear anything about veterans inclusion. And I was like, yes, you didn't. And the fact is that even today, if you go around and really talk about it, there are very few organizations that are actively working on veterans as a dimension, right? If you look at active intent of how do we integrate people who are and there are a significant number, 60 to 70,000 every year, who come out of the armed forces, who are looking at transitioning to civilian roles in the corporate sector. But how many organizations are looking at that talent pool? In the previous panel discussion, Yuvraj made a point. He said that we have a situation where the need for talent is increasing, but there seems to be a shortage of the right talent. Sir spoke about a talent which is being groomed from very early stages. They are being groomed on some of the competencies that we want today. We want people who have discipline. We want people who have ethics and integrity. We want people who have resilience. We want people who can handle VUCA. We want people who can take calculated risk. And these people get groomed into it from very early stages and have all of these competencies. So if we have this talent pool readily available, why are we not looking at this talent pool? The point is that since diversity, equity, and inclusion is seen as a journey, and there is prioritization which happens, are we ready to take the plunge? Oh, we have just started our journey. I am going to focus right now on inclusion of women because my managerial pool is not ready yet. Do I have leadership buy-in? How much is it going to cost? The point is, inclusion mindset doesn't cost anything. So I think, to Per's question, a lot of organizations are yet to get started on broadening their narrative of diversity as a dimension to include veterans. They are still looking at women. Then they will go on to think about LGBTQ, PWDs, multi-generational workforce, and then they will. But I don't think we have that kind of time because the talent pool is available. We have shortage. Let's move now.
That's a very good insight. Thank you so much, Sonica. Tarun, you have served in the army for over 20 years and you have transitioned into a very successful corporate role. Take us through your journey from the moment that you decided to hang your boots till your retirement, you're joining the corporate sector. What did you do to upskill yourself and make yourself ready for the corporate sector?
Fine. Thank you, Perv. A very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. So, I purposely told Perv not to introduce myself. I thought I was going to do it. I'll take you through my professional journey, and maybe I'll be able to, whatever I say, it will be a professional journey of any veteran who is transitioning, he or she, depending on, amount of service which they would have put in. About 5 years for a short service officer, 10 years for a short service officer, 20 years for somebody who's taking a voluntary retirement like self, or maybe, somebody who goes on superannuation after putting almost about 30 years plus. Just to make a point, Yuvraj, who spoke before us, Yuvraj is again an army veteran, right? And he served us for 5 years. And saw the kind of HR skills which he brought in the last panel discussion. He's senior to me. I'm calling him sir. In one-on-ones, I'm going to call him sir, but I called him by name. Perv is junior to me. He called me Taron right now. Fine. So that is the transition which we have made. Okay.
That's how you check.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's the way one has to check. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Tarun, and I'm an ex-colonel from the Indian Army. So, after putting almost about 21 years plus of service, 21 years, 2 months, and 10 days to be precise. I remember each and every day. I got commissioned in year December 98 into one of the finest units of Indian Artillery after about 4 years of my training, 3 years at National Defense Academy, and 1 year at Indian Military Academy, Dehradun. Now, my initial formative years were doing those young courses, right, as a young lieutenant. My first posting was a peace posting. I was appointed as the adjutant of the unit. Now, when I say the adjutant of the unit, he is the eyes and ears of the commanding officer. And who is the commanding officer? Commanding officer is the one, who's commanding almost about 17 to 18 officers, say about 34, 35 junior commissioned officers, and about 600 to 800 men who are there under him, depending on whichever unit he or she is commanding, right? And he is the one, who's implementing the programs, the instructions, which the commanding officer is telling on the ground. So he's a program manager for it. I distinctly remember, my commanding officer told me once, Tarun, there are 500 odd men. I want you to make a diary of your own, write down their names. And I did do that. I wrote down each and everybody's name. I wrote from which village he comes, what are the problem which he or he is facing. So and so forth. That was my, building up my people manager skills, my HR skills, which were coming on that particular time. Okay, so from there, I moved to Kashmir. I did a Rashtriya Rifle tenure, and that was in thick of counter-terrorism operations. So here, ladies and gentlemen, a boy turned into a man, right? I was a young, maybe about in early 20s. And here we were facing counter-terrorism operation. Here I learned about the security part. Of course, in the peace when you are there, you have those canned security and everything. But here it is the security of your life, of your men, your material. And it is not only, related to only the men and material. It is a cyber security, each and everything you need to look into it. I had an area of 20 kilometer by 20 kilometer, in one of, and there are about 12, 13 odd villages which came under my area of responsibility. I was a young man, right? I was interacting with civil police officials. So here I was building trust with my sources. So here again, my security related skills were increasing. So and of course, the HR, the people, managerial skills. I had one officer under self. I had 3 junior commission officers. I had a company of almost 125 odd men. I had to take care of them. From there, I came back to my unit just for about 6 months' time. And then I got an interview for a UN mission. I went to UNIFIL, that is United Nations Interim Force in Lebanon. And there my role was as a staff officer of contingent own equipment. So now what was happening is, there are armies from different various nations who are getting their equipment over there, right? There are Ghanian army, French army, and my role was to technically verify what is the kind of equipment which they are getting, right? And so that the UN can give the remuneration to them. So this was again a technical bent. I'm not an engineer, fine, but then I was learning about those particular things. From there, I came back, April 2008, I had another interview lined up. I went as instructor at Indian Military Academy, Dehradun. Here, you were making the future officers of Indian Army, right? Giving them the right values, the right ethos. So here my role came into more on the coaching and the training part and the HR part. So it is not only the physical strength, physical training which you are giving, it is the mental training also which you are giving to them. There I cleared my staff course exam, which is like akin clearing, I see your CAT exam, become a senior program manager thereafter. From there, I came back to my regiment, first as a second in command. And then in December 2013, I took over the reins of my unit. I was young. I was just about 37 years of age. So I was the commanding officer. And now imagine whatever I had learned in those particular 15 years, I was trying to implement in my regiment. So again, I had those 17 officers under self, 34 junior commissioned officer, and about 600 odd men under self. And whatever things which I had learned, I was implementing it that. The unit did extremely well. I just take 30 seconds more, right? I know I've taken a little more time, but this is a journey which I'm trying to tell that this is something, what the transition means. From there, I moved to one last appointment before I, moved out from the army. And that was Director, Army Commander, Special Financial Power. I was dealing with 300 crore plus OPEX procurement, right? As a CO, I was just dealing with about 1 CRO procurement, every financial year. I had no clue about finances. I had never seen my mess bill. Mess bill aata tha, kehte the de do usko. Okay, mujhe de dete mess bill. But I learned it. There were 400 page or defense procurement manual. I went through it. I learned each and everything. And believe you me, ladies and gentlemen, within 1 month, I was sitting on the chair as I've been there in that particular ages. So that particular thing is that learn and be curious. So if you see, I covered HR, I covered operations, I covered security, I covered technical side, I covered procurement and each and everything. While moving, it was not an impulsive call, a much deliberated thought. And any veteran will do that. When I'm saying about myself, ladies and gentlemen, again, I'm trying to tell you, any veteran will do that, right? I did my PG diploma in HR from Symbiosis. I did my Prince 2 certification. I did my Six Sigma certification. I did my course on international business management, what General Kapur was telling, the kind of courses which the DGR offers, right? Those particular 6 months of course. And thereafter, I had, for first 4 months, I didn't have a job. When I was doing the course, right? I was still in army. And I really thought, कि तरुण बोरा फौज में रह लेते ब्रिगेडियर तो बन ही जाते आप, ठीक है. But in my last 1.5 to 2 months, I had 4 jobs with self, 2 in HR, 1 in SLP, 1 of course with Amazon, and I chose Amazon, for whatever reasons I had that particular time. Fine. So here has been my journey, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Tarun, for that wonderful journey. When I was growing up, the typical image of an army guy was Sunny Deol in Border. Then when I was a young man, it changed into Hrithik Roshan from Lakshya. Today, mostly the idea comes from movies like Uri and Sher Shah. But the thing is, it gets restricted to that. The typical image of an army person is someone with a gun, shouting, killing people, and firing. People normally outside the armed forces domain are not aware of the kind of skill set that we at armed forces gain, and so many trades which are available. Sir, I want to ask you and all 3 of the panel members, what do you think that the industry should be aware of the skill set that a person from the armed forces bring to the table?
Thanks. A good point you are covering, because though Tarun has covered from the officer perspective, the kind of experience he has, or the chairs he handled and on the job he learned. One thing which he did not say was the risk-taking factor, what ma'am brought out, is the thing which he was taking each moment, each minute, each day when he was in CI. It is that risk which is the biggest risk you can come across. Balance of the risk you still manage, whether it is 400 crore he was handling, imagine. On behalf of an army commander would be always eyes and ear. He was eyes and ear, and he would be his right-hand man for all decision making. That is to be understood, the kind of thing. The skills, that is what, before I go on to skill, there's a very, I was quoted by, taught by a senior who said, long back there used to be an ad of Tata, which was of salt. And while it used to end, in the last 10 second or 7 second, it would say, we also make steel. So if you recollect that ad of that, when they started promoting salt, but in the end they would say, we also make steel. So we are the steel. In the last 30 seconds, I can say we also make salt. The point is, we have a lot of skill level. The image which comes, what you brought out, whether it is Sunny Deol, but at our age, it was a man with mustache with 2 12-bore gun in his hand and with a pretty daughter, heroine, and he's the father and he's saving her from that end. He marries her to the hero only. But of course, now we have the biopics coming out, the better movies are coming out. But let's go beyond the security. That is what my humble submission to HR head sitting here is, that it is not we in uniform are only security. That security is of the nation. That security is within you also. You lock the house, you lock your car. Everyone has a security. That comes within. We specialize. But there are a number of trades which we have. Total trades identified are more than 130 trades. More than. Which we have. Trade, when I say, are the skill levels. The skill levels are 130 beyond. You talk about the programming, we have it. You talk about technical repairing, we have it. You talk about HR, we have it, what he just covered. You talk about hospitality, we have it. You give us this event to be organized, within 7 boys, we will be able to do one young captain or one JCO. He'll be able to handle it. So these kind of the skills, there are vast. You go to aviation, Air Force will offer you. You go to the ship, like we have certain people around who can take people towards the shipping, towards the merchant navy. We have all kind of talent. Only thing is we do not understand what you need. Now that is what initiative you were talking, we have started doing, we have identified. We also have a equality of trade, it is called. So that also we've been able to generate, put it on our website. We have a website. I request all of you to visit, contact us so that we bridge the gap. And that is where you will realize that we have the trade. If we don't have the trade, like I'll not name the companies, but they have approached us that please give us this kind of bridging which we are looking for. Training you give, upskill is skill levels. So we have gone back to our IIMs, IITs, Institute of Repute, which I am talking, I've just taken 2-3 names. We have gone back to IIFT, told them, please change your training. Please change your way of teaching to our officers, men, all of us, so that the right kind of people, and in a big way, we are carrying out a study in which we are identifying the bridge which we have to make between the hunter and the hunted. That is what we have started doing now. Once that is also ready, we will be moving forward. And that is what our request is. Approach us, we'll be able to give you the right kind of people. It is only that I think awareness part is missing in the environment, what ma'am also brought out. That have we been able to, are we losing out that? There are skills available. There are skills available and balance, you know. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, so much. Sonica, your ideas on industry adapting themselves for, the image that the armed forces personnel carry.
So there are certain stereotypes, I believe that, and that stems from a lot of awareness. So for example, like sir said that for some time when I was working with some of my clients, most of the roles that were open to army veterans were either in security or in admin. So pretty much like when initially roles opened up for women, it used to be desk jobs, IT, marketing, HR. And the same phenomena applied to veterans as well. So it was either security or it was admin. But the fact is that just like Tarun spoke and Sir spoke, they have a very wide exposure. Even if you look at even in the peace postings, some of the equipment that they handle, the life-saving equipment that they handle is very expensive, very sophisticated equipment. The kind of IT network that they handle is way beyond what some of us even understand. So can we look beyond security and admin and broaden our net across functions, across industries, and say, he spoke about hospitality. So today, I think there can be no industry, no function where veterans can be included. Also, from the point of view of job fitment, why do we consider that if we are looking for a veteran, there should be 100% job fitment from a knowledge and skill perspective? When we go for any recruitment, do we get any candidate who is 100% fit? We settle for 70 to 80% fit. And then we train them, we induct them, we onboard them, we train them. So why not with veterans? Why don't we have a comprehensive onboarding induction program where we can work with them as well? That's number 2. Some of the other issues that I have observed is sometimes curiosity gets the better of us. Lunch table conversations on what happened on the battlefield. How many people did you kill? I mean, all of us have our past and our lives. I don't think I want to talk about it. Right? So sensitization from that perspective. And lastly, corporates have a lot of acronyms, from AOP to FTE to to God knows what all. And having a robust induction, when we are looking at corporates, at veterans, or for that matter, anybody, I think is very important. So coming back to Parv's question, from corporates' willingness to look at veterans and hiring and the barriers that come in, I think a lot of it stems from the fact that we don't understand what all is available. There are certain stereotypes that we have created. We believe, in any case, ageism of what's for civilians is an issue. Think about ageism with an intersectionality of veterans. They will be rigid. They will have their own culture. Will they settle in? Will they fit in into a corporate culture? That's yet another stereotype. So we need to break those in our own heads and say that, can I look at an individual as an individual and respect the individual for the knowledge, skill, and the behavioral competencies that they bring to the table? So that's it.
Thank you, Sonica. Thank you so much for such an insightful answer.
You want me to give my views also?
Yes, please.
Right. Fine. So absolutely +1 to General Sharad and Sonica. I learned this +1, when I came in corporate. Otherwise, I used to call it I-second, right? So many things, which we learn. One thing which we need to know, any defense forces officer, be it from Army, Navy, stroke from Air Force, we have engineers, we have somebody from signals. There are people who are working in AWS. There are people who are working as consultants in McKinsey. There are people who are working in financial sector. Industry needs to think out of the box. As Sonica brought it out, let's not have that particular stereotype of only having admin and security. There are so many roles which are available, and any different fields. Let's have the industry think about it. There are some industries, there are some companies who started an internship program. And to be very frank, the first 3 to 4 months, all those acronyms, etc., they really did hit me also. I said, where the hell I've landed up? But thereafter, as I said, we say in armed forces, when the going gets tough, the tough gets going. So that is something which carried me through and sailed me through. And here I stand, and here I, sit in front of you, putting almost 2.5 years in corporate. I learned each and everything. The learn and be curious is there. That adaptability is there, right? You're learning those things. You're not feeling shy in asking things. So that is what a veteran gets into. We also need to know that we all carry our ranks, right? We all carry our ranks, but we do not carry the weight of our ranks. I was a colonel. I will always prefix my name as a colonel because that is something which the government of India has given it to me. The president of India has given it to self. Yuvraj will always put as a captain. But then yes, Yuvraj is an individual, Tarun Vora is an individual, and that is why we are here in the industry. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Tarun. And the red screen has been up there for quite some time, but final thoughts from you, sir, that your message to the industry leaders here.
No, thank you. I think we have conveyed, ma'am has also brought out, it's only the fog, I think. We are in the fog of each other's environment. As I repeat at the humble request to you all, please get connected to DG Resettlement. It's available on the website. You don't have to physically approach us. Go onto our website. Our mobile numbers are there. Our emails are there. Everything is there. Whatever you need, please let us know. And not that please I'm saying because of anything, because this man has served you all. So you need him more than us. Okay, now, right? So it is the nation's time to pay back. So with little emotional cord, that is. But if you tell us, guide us, okay, this kind of thing is required in the futuristic market. This is what is coming up in the coming years. That is what we have ordered us in-house. It'll be a study which will be done by professionals. Part 1 is over. We are on part 2. But I also want to know what is required so that we start upskilling his level while he's in service or he's just coming out. That'll do a human service to all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you everyone for this wonderful session and joining us here. Thank you so much.
Please, sir. Can we pass mic to the gentleman?
Yeah, okay, got mic. So very good evening. Thank you so much for a lovely session. My name is Sharad, and I'm from Michigan. I led the talent acquisition and the diversity. Recently kickstarted the Army Veteran program, right? I'm sure we're going to have some success out there. My question to you is a little reverse question, right? Maybe I'll check with the audience and then let you know what the question is. So how many of you know here about Territorial Army? So that's the problem, right? So my question to both the gentlemen, right? In fact, 3 of you. Ma'am, sorry, I would pass this question to 3 gentlemen. That why don't we evangelize about the Territorial Army, right? Because there's a workforce, right, like me, who's wanting to be a part, wear a uniform. So why don't we evangelize that in corporates, right? Why don't we open that doors as well, wherein people up till age of 42, right, can join an army, right, become an officer, right, wear a uniform, do their aspirations, fulfill their aspirations. So what are your views on that? That's a simple question.
You'll be the final word on this, sir. You're still serving, right? Okay. A nice one. Absolutely right. I think a very nice question. So you really want to join armed forces? Awesome, great, phenomenal. Firstly, ladies and gentlemen, we can have clap for the gentleman. Awesome spirit. Thank you so much. Right? Great. I think it's a great idea. We have, I have some few friends who are in the TA, and they work in the corporate for some time, and then they, serve the Indian Army also. We have Kapil there, we have Sachin Tendulkar also, who are part of, even MS Dhoni, who is part of a para TA battalion. And, that para TA battalion is being commanded by one of my coursemate also. So I met Dhoni in that way, right? So I think that's a noble idea. Only thing is, we'll need to check it with the government. Is it possible? Is it not possible after the age of 40? Right, getting into the armed forces? There are a lot of ifs and buts getting into that particular part. If somebody has been a part of TA and from a young age, so he or she has been trained that well, that adaptability, as we say, once we come out, like once I moved out, I was in early 40s that particular time. That adaptability from army to corporate and from corporate to army, right? That is something which needs to be checked on. But then I think the very noble thought, and I think we can take it ahead from my side.
I'll carry this point, remain one-to-one with you on this issue. Certainly, a point well taken with respect to, you must understand as you are part of it. It is more towards physical, because you can be posted anywhere. At the call of duty, you can be called into Valley. TS 80% is deployed in J&K. And they are no less than any regular army or anyone, right? So the same kind of duty. In fact, some of the TA boys have gone into last Ashok Chakra is to TA boy, if you remember. So those kind of things have happened, right? So my this thing would be that there are rules and regulations which have been well thought of, but certainly I'll carry this point and let's see where we can reach. Thank you.